Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creating Your Desired Life. I'm so super excited that you are here today. Today we are diving into the transformative practices of mindfulness and self-care, exploring how they can nurture our well-being and empower us to lead a more fulfilling life. So join me today. Sit back, take your time, and let's talk about mindfulness and self-care. In the self-discovery time, I want you to look at what your mindfulness and self-care practices are. Or do you need to unlock your true potential through looking at mindfulness and self-care, thereby bringing you into a greater balance and harmony into your life? We're going to explore all of these practices. So I encourage you to reflect on your own self-care routines. Consider how incorporating mindfulness can enhance your overall well-being, and then share your insights and experiences with us on our social media at esthergraham.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to hearing from you. So I remember when there was just a time in my own life that I was not on the top of the chart, let's say, where mindfulness and self-care was even something that I did. I don't even think I understood it. And I think as women, especially, we all go through a phase of that in our lives. What is mindfulness? What does it look like? What is self-care? What does it look like? And so I remember a few years ago, I would go to work, and on my way to work, I would cry. I would go to church. On my way to church, I would be crying. And then on my way, if I just wasn't sure of what I was doing. I didn't feel as if I was really taking care of myself. I felt as if I was taking care of everyone else, and I was the last person that was really important. And I began to look at what was really missing in my life. In other words, I began to really look at what is it I really need to be mindful of? How am I taking care of myself emotionally? Which, by the way, at that time, I really was not. How was I really taking care of myself mentally? I really was not. Henceforth, my crying, I knew how to show up. I would show up to work. I would show up to church. I would show up for my family. I would show up in all of these different things. But then when I was by myself, I felt empty. I felt disillusioned, I felt alone. And that's because I wasn't taking care of me. When I discovered that, I began to put some practices in place. My spiritual life was even lacking at the time. Why? Because I wasn't taking that time to self-reflect. I wasn't taking that time to feed my soul as I should have. I was, sometimes we go to a certain limit and then we stop because we're so busy doing everything else. And that was me. Now, that's not me today. No matter how busy my schedule is, and trust me, my schedule is very busy. I make sure that I'm taking care of myself. I'm very mindful. I'm very intentional about feeding myself emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I make sure that my self-care practices are on point. Not saying that sometimes it may slip. And when I talk about self-care, everyone, I'm not just talking about getting my massage, which is important, and it is inclusive of that, getting my nails done. It's inclusive of that, going on vacation. All of that is inclusive. But I'm speaking of really taking care of my internal world. How am I feeling? How am I doing? What are my thoughts about me? How do I feel about myself? And so I had to go on this journey. Really, I call it the journey back to me. Why? So that I can be very mindful, very intentional about what I'm doing, and I could put self-care practices in place. Intentional about self-care practices. And so that's what I love about today's session. I have Felice Martin, who is absolutely wonderful. She is a licensed professional counselor. She's a certified neuroscience coach and the founder and CEO of Behavioral Health Associates of Georgia, LLC. With her extensive experience in neuroscience and trauma informed care, Felice is known as the freedom facilitator. Love it. Dedicated to empowering individuals to achieve mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. Throughout her career, Felice has been a passionate advocate for mindfulness and self care, recognizing their profound impact on mental health and overall well being. Today, she'll share her expertise and insights on how we can integrate these practices into our daily lives to cultivate greater peace, resilience, and fulfillment. I absolutely love that. So please welcome Felice Martin. Come on, Felice, let's have a powerful discussion on mindfulness and self-care. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited to be here today and share with your audience some of the things that have really been meaningful in my life
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some of the techniques that I share with my patients or my clients as well.
Yeah. I love, Felice and I met each other, I believe it was last year.
Mhm.
Um, and we've spent a wonderful time together, just having really powerful conversations. And what I love, Felice, about what you do as you're talking about, mindfulness and self care, it's the neuroscience of all of it. And really, that's really where it starts. You're a coach. I'm a coach. I'm a neuro coach as well. And so I just really see how important it is to make sure that our brain, our mind is in the place to where we can properly really affect change in our lives. And so I want you to basically talk to us about that and share a little bit about your own story when it comes to doing this yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I was listening to the introduction and it sounds like, oh wow, she's talking about me. So the letters and all of that fun stuff, it really does matter. It means a lot. It opens doors. And I can tell
Yeah.
you this, I have not always been this person. I have
Yeah.
not always been mindful. There was a time where I had to work through some trauma that I've experienced in my childhood. I had to work through that. And what happened is that I was able to recognize that I was experiencing a lot of anxiety and depression because of the experiences that I've had. In addition to that, I recognized that my brain was wired to be on alert all of the time. And
Mhm,
so when
mhm.
you talk about the neuroscience of mindfulness and anxiety and depression, my brain was wired to look for the threat. And
Yeah.
so, yes, and when I became a mother 26 years ago, I know you probably can't believe it, but
No,
20
you look beautiful. You look really young. You look young. So
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you, thank you. So 26 years ago, I became a mother, and what I saw myself doing is reenacting the anxiety that I experienced. I was
Yeah.
super anxious and just worried all the time. I was afraid to leave. I would have to go on trips, and I would be so scared, thinking the my anxiety, that story, what happens, what if the prank? I was a mess, y'all. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a mess. I was really honestly and truly a mess because I was so anxious and it held me back from doing a lot of things. But what I learned to do in my training is to breathe, to be
Yeah.
mindful, to
Yeah.
pray, to really, focus, not run away from what I'm thinking, but I had to learn to challenge those thoughts.
Yeah.
So this is a very important topic, especially for, for women. We carry a lot, and people
Yeah. We do.
individually as well. We carry a lot.
Yeah.
We carry the weight of our families. Um, and that that can be debated. We carry that weight, and
Yeah.
it's important for us to understand what's going on, how we are responding, so that we can honor ourselves as well as honor those people that we've been assigned to care for in this
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. It's amazing because, yeah, you said, especially we as women, and we're not excluding men, of course, because we know that they have, have to learn about mindfulness or everything like that. But the bottom line is, when you're looking at research and when you're looking at statistics, it's women that carry a lot of this. We're mothers, we're always stepping in, and we're always ensuring that everybody is taken care of. And then
Mhm.
we're the person that we're going to sacrifice our mindfulness. We're going to sacrifice our self-care. We're just going to sacrifice ourselves. And we don't take the time out for us. And therefore, it does cause us to have high anxiety.
Yes.
It causes us to go into depression. It causes us to just really be emotionally, let's say, I don't want to use the word unstable, but we're not very stable.
Yeah,
It really
dysregulated.
puts a fraction in our, even our spirituality.
Yes.
And yeah, it does. And so, and what many times we don't realize, it stems from also our mind,
Yes.
right? The bottom line is that research shows that we have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts.
Right.
And we really have to be mindful, right? To make sure to train our mind to have those positive thoughts about ourselves when
Yes.
you're thinking about mindfulness, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it makes me think of this. This is something that I do. I know there's a big statistic that says we have somewhere close to like 50,000 thoughts that run through our minds
50
on a
to
daily.
60,000. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
on a daily basis. And
yeah,
so what I had
yeah.
to train myself to do, as well as train the people that I work with to do, is to say, hey, what thoughts am I pulling down? With all in that the super highway of thoughts, what thoughts am I pulling down?
I
What
love
are
it.
these? What am I saying to myself? What am I feasting on? And so once we are aware or mindful, because that's what mindfulness is,
Yeah.
we're aware of what we're thinking,
Hmm.
then we can see the impact that it has on our everyday life. And then we can make
Every
a
day.
decision on what we want to do about it. Do we want
Yeah.
to continue feeding that, or do we want to challenge that thought?
Yeah, what are we feeding? Listen, I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. I believe Langer.
Mhm.
She is a professor, or at least one point, a research professor at Harvard University, and she did this whole study and she took men and basically to work on their thoughts.
Right.
And so, to making a putting it succinctly, she basically took them out of one environment, put them into a different environment for 1 week. And everything they read, everything they thought about, she set it up to where they were going to live in this environment and they were going to change their thoughts. Right.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
by the ending of the week, so before that, she did a study. She took their health statistics. She did everything, right? Their health, blood pressure, any aids, any increments that they had, any thought processes that they had. She looked at that. And then she looked at it 7 days later. So
Mhm.
I'm telling you this research, y'all, so you'll know I'm just giving you an overview of it. And at the ending of that week, things had changed. Listen to this. And I believe
Mhm.
this is exactly what you're speaking of and really what you do in your practice. And I absolutely love it, because if you could change your mind, your thoughts, you can change how you live. And that's
Yes.
exactly what happened with them, is that when they changed their thoughts, so they spent just 1 week with her. And by the end of the week, it even showed to where some of the pains that they had was no longer there.
Yes.
That some of the men even looked younger, at least
Mhm.
2 years younger, simply from changing their thought. In other words, being very mindful
Yeah.
of
It's
their
good.
thoughts that they were having about themselves, that it even changed their health. To me,
Yes.
that is powerful.
Very, very powerful. In a week.
In a week.
That
In a
is
week.
powerful. And yeah, it's true. It really does matter. And we have to, and think of it like this. When we recognize that, um, we're created for threat. That's a part of our survival
Yeah.
mechanism anyway. So we're always looking for the threat. And that's a protection, self-preservation,
Yeah.
um, you know, I guess, activity. And the reality is that once we're able to calm ourselves down and we put things in their proper place, by saying, like I said earlier, I had to realize that I am no longer in survival mode. I had to recognize that my daughters, and I have two daughters and my son, they're okay. They didn't
Yeah.
have the same experience that I had. And
Mm-hmm.
so and then one thing that really helped me also is reading the article that talked about women, mothers who were anxious,
Mm-hmm.
typically had children who were anxious as well. So,
Wow. Wow.
right, right, right,
Wow.
right,
Yeah. I
right.
think this speaks to the importance of mindfulness and self-care. So tell me, what are some misconceptions? Because there's a lot out there. What are some misconceptions about mindfulness and self-care, and how do you address them in what you do in your practices?
Yes, I love that. The first thing that came to mind when I'm thinking about the misconceptions
Yeah.
is, we're sitting up and just, and, just, humming, and everything is just so beautiful. And, no thoughts should be going through my head. And okay, that's cute. And that's not real.
Not real.
Let's
Yeah.
just there are levels, there are
Mhm.
dimensions to when we think about mindfulness. And so I do tell in my practice, I tell the people I work with, hey, look, let me talk to you about your brain. Let me talk to you about the brain waves that are impacted when
Yeah.
you engage in mindfulness activities. So let's be real with it. We have the alpha brainwave, which I love. The alpha brainwave is typically seen, we see a lot of activity in the back of our head, just put it like that. And
Yeah.
so the thing is that when a person has experienced a lot of trauma, of course, trauma, you'll see a lot of daydreaming. And so that engages the alpha brainwave. And then also, I work with let me just, we know that, I don't know if this is controversial, but I must say this. A lot of times when I see people who smoke a lot of marijuana, they have an overactive alpha brain wave in a part of the brain that they shouldn't have it. It's in the front. So what does that mean? That means we have to learn to navigate those aspects of our brain and the brain wave activity that we have. So when we think about mindfulness, when I talk to my patients about mindfulness, I tell them, hey, let me tell you, if you relax, you can create a idling brain wave, which is the alpha brain wave. And so if you need to move forward quickly, you can do that. If you need to chill a little bit, you can do that. So it helps you just to kind of be in an even keeled space. So that is very important, when we think
So
about
say that again for me, what you just said. I want to make sure I understand it as well.
hmm
Repeat
so
what you just said about.
mhm, about the
Yeah,
alpha.
I want to make sure everybody understands what you're saying. Yeah, this
Yes.
is so good.
Yes. So when we think about the alpha brainwave, we think about, if you touch
Yeah,
the back of your head, that's the occipital brain lobe. So that's the part where we see. So we typically, that part of our brain wave is super active, especially when with people who've experienced some type of trauma. And so it can be overactive, which will create a space of daydreaming. And so when we do that, then it makes us kind of foggy or flighty. And so we don't want that. We want to be able to have, the alpha brainwave is also considered the idling brainwave. If you turn on the car and idle it, it can either move
yeah,
forward or it can move back, it can move forward fast, or it can, slow down. And so that is very important. So when we think about mindfulness and what that looks like, we're not just out here, meditating and doing all of that. We're actually impacting our brain waves. So,
yeah.
we don't, the misconceptions are, it's just an activity that we're doing. And I believe
Mm,
that it's so important to, in
yeah,
all of your get an understand why you are doing what you're doing, and understand the impact that it's having on your brain and your body, and ultimately how you show up in the world.
yeah. Ultimately, how you show up in the world, ultimately, your life, right? Your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, powerful, powerful, powerful. Mindfulness impacts your life in a positive way, in a great way. And
Yes.
like you said, in all you're getting, get to understand what you're doing. Don't be aimlessly doing something, but be
Right.
very mindful of it. So,
Right.
can you share some practical strategies? I know you just spoke about one, but for incorporating mindfulness into our daily routines, especially for someone who might be new to the practice. And y'all,
Yes.
I just have to let me give this caveat. Creating your desired life, right? So many times with creating your desired life, you will have obstacles and different things. So I just make a joke out of this. The phone just rang, thought the ringer was off. So y'all, this is all a part of creating your desired life and being very mindful of
Right.
what you're doing and what you're not doing. So tell me, how do you incorporate mindfulness into the daily routines, especially for those new to the practice? I've never did it
Yeah.
before. So what can you tell me? How do I get started?
Um,
Especially if I'm one of those person that thinks, oh, this is kind of spooky. You know what I mean?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's because I thought about this. There are two. There are two, but I'm just going to give one,
Yeah.
maybe. um, and the reason being is that it sounds so simple.
Hmm.
Um, and it sounds so simple that it's like, no, this can't work. This just cannot work. This just cannot work. So I want everybody to, if you, I don't want you to do it now. If you challenge yourself, if you held your breath and just held your breath and did not breathe, eventually what would happen?
You die.
Exactly, exactly. Right. And so even when I work with people, I can see them holding their breath. And I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
was doing that too. We don't know the value of the breath. So I'm going to show you guys this exercise, and it's called cyclocyclic sighing. Okay.
Sigmo,
Cyclo,
cyclin,
cyclic,
cyclo,
cyclic, like cyclic,
cyclic,
sighing. So it's like,
signing.
yeah, like,
Okay.
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 And so
Y'all
let's,
get it. Y'all get it.
yes. So
Listen.
it's like a
Yeah.
cycle, basically a cycle of sighing. And I always
Okay.
like to
Great.
take stuff and break it down to its simplest form. Let's keep it
Yeah.
just
Thank you. Because I know
practical.
I need that. I need that. The simple
Yes.
form.
Yes. So we're just doing cycle sighing. So basically what that is that you're going to, and it helps to calm your body down. Okay. And
Yeah.
so what you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose, and I'll show you. You're going to take a deep breath in through your nose like this.
All right, y'all. Make sure if you're watching, make sure that you're doing it.
Yes. So you're going to take a short breath in through your nose, and you're going to hold it like this. And then you're going to go a little deeper with it, filling your lungs with the air, and then just exhale slowly through your mouth. Right? It feels good. So let's do that
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Let's do that again. And I'm going to give the instructions, because if I do it, I might get really sleepy, and
Okay.
I don't want to. I do it so much. Okay. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take a deep breath through your nose halfway, and then you're gonna hold it, hold it, hold it. Or take a breathe a little deeper, filling your lungs, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then just sigh it out. Let it. Yes, yes,
Man, that's good. Are you holding it for about 4 seconds?
yes. About 4 seconds. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's good.
And the thing is that if you can try to do this, just try it.
Are you there? All right. She will be right back, y'all. She will be right back. And yes, we're going to hold it, our breath work. Listen, another word for that is breath work. And so one of the things that we want you to do is practice that at home. Listen, breath work, doing it, the name that she just gave. I do this all the time. And this really helps when I am anxious. It's part of what I do when I feel as if I just need to slow it down. I do the breath work. I do the breath work. So important to your well-being. One of the other things that I also love to do, she spoke earlier about meditation. But meditation isn't something that you do aimlessly. I many times, especially early in the morning, I like to lay in my bed and I'll just do a meditation. And part of that meditation that I do as I'm focusing on great things. I'm using positive words here for me. I like reading the scriptures. So I will read scriptures. I'll have one in my mind that God knows the plans he has for me. And I'll put that into my mind and I'll meditate on it. But here is something else that I also do. I do a body scan. So I will do a body scan from the top of my head. It's like when you're thinking about it, you are thinking about, a a scanner that just slowly goes all the way to scan that paper. And that's exactly how you're going to scan your body, beginning at the top of your head, and you begin to scan down each part of your body and discover, how is your body feeling? What is there anything in your body that needs to be removed out of your body? Are you feeling good? Is there tenseness in a certain part of your body? And you can begin to remove move your shoulders around or your legs around to remove the tenseness out. Body scans are absolutely wonderful when it also comes to, as a part of your mindfulness practices, just in a very quiet place. You also do not have to be laying down. I personally like to lay down and do it in the morning, but sometimes I could just be standing. I could be sitting like right now, and I could just begin to do a body scan in a very quiet place. And so, body scans are so important to bringing the anxiety down, to bringing everything down, and also taking the time to train your brain. In other words, you want to seal your brain. You want to train your brain, your mind with positive thoughts. And we've said earlier that research shows that we've got about 50 to 60 thoughts per day. And out of those thoughts that we have per day, 95% of those thoughts are negative. 95, which means there's only 5% that's positive. Well, what does that tell us? That tells us that we now need to retrain, right? We need to retrain our brain, right? To focus on the positive, to focus on the positive. And so those are just some really simple mindfulness activities that you can incorporate into your day. It's also really a part of your self-care. Listen, self-care is so important to your everyday life. And so I want to encourage you to continue to do those self-care activities. And so listen, y'all, I'm not sure, what's going on with her internet, but trust me, if she is not able to get back on today, I will be bringing her back on the show. Why? Because this is so powerful. And I think that we really need to know. And I don't know about you, but I have completely enjoyed it so far, but we're going to continue to move on. And guess what? If she comes back on, we will bring her back on to continue discussing mindfulness and the things that we can actually do. But there's a segment called Ask Dr. Esther. Woohoo! I love this segment. Why? Because you ask any question and so that you have. And so what I would like for you to do is make sure that you email us your questions. And at any one of our segments or any one of our episodes, I will answer your question. If I can't answer it, then I'm going to ask one of my expert guests to answer the questions as well, right? So make sure that you go on our website and there's an area that will say Ask Dr. Esther. Submit your questions or listen or email me your questions at Esther Graham at fddwomen.com. Email me your questions and we will answer them. So Shay from Wisconsin had a question today. And let's see, her question is, how do you begin to create your desired life? How do you begin to create your desired life? That's an excellent question, right? So, how do you start? You first have to begin to think about what is it that you really desired? Where are you right now in your life? Where are you right now? And where is it that you want to go? Ask yourself, what is it that you really desired? What is it that you really desire? What do you want your life to look like? And think about it in different areas. What do you want your relationships to look like? What do you want your spirituality to look like? You know, what do you want your career or your entrepreneur, your finances to look like? So in other words, what do you want it to look like? And when you're saying this is what I want it to look like, now you have to think, well, where am I right now with that? So let me move a little backwards with that. Where is it right now? Where are you right now in your life? And where is it that you want to go? Where are you right now in your life? And where is it that you want to be, or where is it you want it to go? And that is really the beginning stages of how you begin to create your desired life. You first must be able to identify, this is where I am right now. This is where I am right now. And then this is where I want to go, right? Once you begin to do that, then you can begin the beginning stages of creating your desired life. But first, you must begin by identifying. I love to use this as an example. You know, AA, Alcoholic Anonymous, for a person to really begin to be, to begin not to abuse alcohol anymore. I think one of their tenets is, I believe, that you have to first admit that I'm an alcoholic. In other words, they have to identify exactly who they are. So I believe they have to say, I'm an alcoholic. Once you discover this is who I am, this is where I am right now, then you can begin to look at, okay, this is where I want to be. I don't want to drink alcohol anymore. And so now how do I begin to set the plan in place to not drink alcohol anymore? So Shay, thank you for asking that question. The first thing I want you to do, and anyone else, is to say, this is where I am right now, and this is where I want to be. And that is how you begin, just the beginning stages of creating your desired life. Thank you for asking that questions list, that question. Please share it. Anyone else, please ask your question and I will answer it. So our guest, Felice Martin, is back. Yay. And so we're going to bring her back in and we're going to continue this powerful, powerful interview. I love it because the one thing that we are is that we are flexible and we can always shift. All right. Welcome back, Felice. Welcome back.
Yes,
Welcome back.
thank
Let's pick
you.
up where we left off. Let's pick up where we left off.
Yes, so we were doing the cyclic sighing.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, we
okay.
were. We were. So what I was saying is that encouraging all of our viewing audience to make sure that you practice it and also do body scans,
Yes.
to just see how your body is feeling and what you're doing. So how then, let me ask you, how does mindfulness contribute to, to emotional regulation and stress management? How does mindfulness, I mean, I think you've already talked about it with just the deep breathing, how that, how it works. But is there anything else that you could share with us that it could really regulate? Because let's face it, we are under, especially in today's world, we're under a lot of emotional and stress and stress. We
Yes.
Stress management is a definite. Emotional management is something that we all need. How does mindfulness contribute to that?
Yes, absolutely. It's so important for us to recognize that, yes, we are under a lot of stress, and we also have to recognize that the brain is not separate from the body. So, what does
Yeah,
that mean? When we see things, I was talking about the occipital, the part of our brain that allows us to see things. When we see it, we have a perception of what it is that we're seeing. Okay,
yeah,
so if
yeah,
you see something that was stressful, and I always say a dog, I was had an experience with the dog that wasn't very pleasant. So being mindful, when I see a dog, then my body says, oh my goodness, I need to run, I need to get away. So I go into flight, fight, or freeze mode.
Yeah.
Flight,
I
flight, or
was like
freeze mode.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so really recognizing that, and being able to regulate that. The emotional regulation is, what am I saying to myself? Okay, Felice, you are safe. You don't have to worry. Just be still,
Yeah.
breathe.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be a host of things. It could be, somebody stressed out about their work, their job. They're having a difficult time with their boss. Every time they
Mhm.
interact with the boss, it is, they're being reprimanded for something. And so, really being able to say, have an affirmation, say something positive to yourself. Let yourself know that it's gonna be okay. Everything works out for my good. Whatever it is that you say to yourself,
Yeah.
if it's social anxiety, being
Yeah.
able to say, or, that confidence, being able to say, hey, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. There's somebody here that I can speak with. So what thoughts are you pulling down? That's very important. Very,
So
very important.
important, so important, so important. What we're speaking to ourselves. I love it. I love it. So, what role then does self compassion? Because with everything that you've said, so powerful. But sometimes we don't give ourselves grace.
Exactly.
Sometimes we're not compassionate to ourselves. So, what role does self compassion play in cultivating resilience and well being in this whole mindfulness and self care approach?
Right. Absolutely. And so what are you asking? What are you saying to yourself? What are you speaking to yourself? I always say, be kind to your mind. Be kind to yourself. Have
Yeah.
grace for yourself. Let
Mm,
yourself know, hey, I'm figuring it out just like everybody else. When we really
yeah.
stop and think about it, we're all trying to figure this thing called life out, so that's important. And again, when we're kind to our mind, those neurons are firing together. We're able to develop new mental maps. We're able to really exercise that positive, not positive thinking, those positive thoughts, those helpful thoughts, those kind
Yeah.
thoughts that we have towards ourselves.
Yeah.
And I actually have an acronym that I use when I think about the mind and what does it mean. The M is meditating. What am I meditating on? The
Yeah.
I
Good.
is, internal. What am I focusing on? What's going on inside of my body
Yeah.
internally? And then we have to, the N, is being nice. Be nice to yourself, and then make a decision on what you are going to decide to do.
Yeah.
To do.
I love that. M, meditation, so important. Meditation
Yes,
is extremely important. I is
yes,
internal.
yes,
Right? I
internal.
like to call it your internal world. That's what you control is your internal world, right? So
Yes,
I is
yes.
internal for you.
Hmm.
N is being nice
Yes,
to yourself,
nice.
being nice to yourself. I love that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Something sometimes that we don't often do is be nice to ourselves. So,
Right.
and that includes speaking nice things to ourselves
Absolutely.
and love it.
Absolutely.
And D, decision. All it
Yes.
takes is one decision to
One
make a
decision.
change. One decision.
Absolutely.
I love it. Mind,
Absolutely.
meditation,
Yes. Internal.
internal,
Yes. You.
nice,
Yes.
decision. All
Exactly.
of those
That's it.
takes you towards self-care.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add or share, as we just kind of wrap everything up for the what else can you share with us?
Hmm. Oh, there's so many nuggets. I would think what I'd like to share is something that I use for myself every day. Number
Yeah,
one, breathing, you know, and one thing that really resonates with me and the value of the breath is knowing my faith tells me that God is my very next breath.
yeah, yeah,
So I always remember that when I'm going through a difficult time, I remember to breathe. And then again, I check in. What am I thinking? What am I saying to myself? What thoughts are becoming precedent? What's up there?
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
challenge it. I have a right.
yeah,
I can change what I think.
yeah. You can.
You can change what you think. You
Yeah.
can. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So,
Change your thoughts, change your life.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that's what I would give everybody because, like I said, I'm not just giving it because I haven't tried it. I'm giving it because I tried it and I know that it works and it
Yeah.
helps me in this journey called life.
Yeah. In this journey called life, and such a beautiful life that we do have, that we should cherish it and hold on to it, realizing that if there is something in your life that you're not happy with, that you have the power
Exactly.
to change it
Yeah.
just through your thoughts, which
Yes.
goes into mindfulness and
Yes.
self-care. And what I love about today's topic, Felice, is that you've really given us practical steps that we can incorporate into our daily lives.
Mhm.
You've given us takeaways. You've given us some takeaways really that we could say, okay, I could do this today. And what I want to encourage our viewers to do is implement the strategies, the breathing strategy, implement when I spoke about the body scan, implement that, implement the word mind. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Think about the acronym and implement those things into your life. And it's not something that you have to wait to do. It's not something that you say, "Oh, I need to go purchase this to do this." No, 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 no. This
Right.
is something that where you are right now, as you're listening, you can implement it. And you may be someone that's saying, "Well, I already do some of this." Well, now let's add a little bit more. Let's add a little bit more. Let's be very intentional,
Yes.
right? About what we're doing on a daily basis. Very intentional. When you really begin to put that plan in place, when you begin to say, I'm going to be very intentional about what I do every day, the thoughts that I'm having,
Mhm.
how I'm taking care of myself, then you will see how your life will change. Now, this is what I want to add, Felice, is that many times we live in a microwave society. This isn't about boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. No,
Right.
this
Yeah.
is it's a
Yes.
marathon. It's not a sprint.
Exactly. I love it.
It's
I
a,
say that all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's a
it's a
marathon, not a
marathon.
sprint.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
on this marathon. This is a
Yes.
journey.
Yes.
And and it took us a while to get to where we are. If we're saying that we're in this place and you don't know how you get there, that's because you didn't get there just yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
It takes time.
Yeah, it took time. You've been getting there, and it's maybe something that you didn't recognize or you felt as if you didn't have time. But here you are today, and today's the perfect place for you to be. And today's the
Yes.
perfect day for you to start incorporating
Yes.
mindfulness, even if you incorporate one strategy at a
Yes.
time. So thank you so much, Felice,
Yes. It
for
has been a
joining me
pleasure.
today. I appreciate it so much. We will definitely be having you back because
Yes.
this is something that I just feel as if we need to dive into just a little bit deeper, just a little bit deeper. Why? So we can all have the tools to live a very mindful, intentional life, intentional living, right?
Yes.
That is the key. So thank you so, so, so much. Listen, everyone, I have my quote for the week. And really, you would think that I told my quote to Felice, but I did not. And I did not. And so this is how you know when things are just, very much aligned, very much aligned. So my quote for the week is this, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, the way you speak to yourself matters.
Hmm.
The way you speak to yourself matter. And whoever said it is unknown, but this is something I know that I speak all the time. The way you speak to yourself matters. So that's the quote for the week. So
Yeah.
this week, as you're going through and everything that you're doing, I really want you to think about how you're speaking to yourself.
Hmm.
Are you speaking words of life? Listen, life and death is in the power of your tongue. This right here,
Yes. Absolutely.
right?
Hmm.
And you can speak life into yourself or
Hmm.
you can speak death into yourself. What does death look like? You can speak negative things to yourself. And when you speak negativity to yourself, then you pull yourself down. You can go into depression.
Hmm.
You don't accomplish the things that you really want to do. Why? Because you're now seeing yourself in a negative light. Listen, part of what we want to do is create new neural pathways. And
Yes.
how do we create those new neural pathways? We create it by speaking to
Yes.
ourselves
Yes.
because it matters. And we do it not one day, not 2 days. We are intentional and we do it every day. How do I speak life into myself? I speak life into myself by saying those powerful things about me, that I
Yes.
can do this, that I can accomplish this, that today is a great day, that today is the best day of my life. Today is a powerful day for me, that I am beautiful, that I am created for more and I can do more. That's how you begin to speak life into yourself.
Yes.
So this week, I really want you to focus on the quote, right? That the way you speak to yourself matter. So
Yes.
speak to
That's good.
yourself in positive ways. Speak to yourself in powerful ways, not just positive, but
Yes.
powerful,
Powerful. That's good.
powerful,
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Speak powerful words to yourself that I can do this. I got
Yes.
this.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
I got this. In other words, you got this, girl. Say it to
Yes.
yourself. You got this,
Yes.
girl.
Yes.
Listen, that nothing that comes against you is going to cause to stop you from moving forward. Why?
Absolutely.
Because you got this. And when you
Mhm.
feel as if you got this, you got to know that God's got you,
Yes.
right? He's got you because you got you, right?
Yes.
So begin to speak those powerful words to yourself. Practice it this week, and you will see how you can shift your entire week.
Yes.
And once
That's
you
good.
begin to shift 1 week with just the words that you speak to yourself, then you'll begin to shift a second week and a third
Mm-hmm.
week, and you will begin to shift your world. You'll begin to shift your environment. You
Mm-hmm.
will begin even to shift the people around you. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of always seeing the glass half empty, you are always going to see it half full
Yes. That's
and
good.
getting fuller. Is there such a word, Felice? It's fuller, fuller, and fuller,
We're
and
gonna
getting
make it
full.
up. It's okay. That's the creative side. We can
It's a
make it up.
creative, fuller, fuller, and fuller.
Fuller, fuller,
So
fuller.
listen, that is your quote for the week,
Yes.
everyone. I am so appreciative that you have joined me today for creating your desired life. I do want you to take a moment and do some self-reflection. I do want you to listen to what, our expert guest, what Felice has said to you. I do want you to do that. And I do want you to say to yourself, if you feel as if you need more help in that area, then please feel free to reach out. That is why we are here. We are here as a community to build each other up, to help each other live that powerful life, live that life that says, girl, you got this. Or
Mm-hmm.
if you're a man that's listening,
Yeah.
overhearing, then
Mm-hmm.
boy, you got this.
That's right, bro.
You
You
got
got
this.
it.
You got it. We were created to live a life empower. Empower. So listen, make sure that you are integrating, that you're incorporating mindfulness and self-care into your daily routines. All right. Make sure that you're doing your self-reflections. Make sure that you're looking at every area of your life, right? And see what area of your life can benefit the most from your mindful practices, right? Begin to bring the joy back into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Begin to bring rejuvenation back into your life. And if you're saying, well, I have the joy, well, increase your joy. Listen, we could never have too much of
That's
joy and, begin to redesign some things. We could never have too much of that. So begin to do that and make sure that you join me next time on creating your desired life. Let's go ahead and thank Felice for
right.
joining us. Thank you so much, Felice. One of the things I love to do, y'all, is I love to dance. So make sure that as
Yes.
we're
We'll dance
leaving
with you.
today, that you're just dancing your way out and you have a powerful, powerful,
Yes.
powerful day. Take care
Yes.
and God bless.
Awesome.
Bye bye.
This is wonderful. Wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you so much. We're waiting for the music. Bum, bum, bum. Yay. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? Make sure that you visit my Facebook page and Instagram and LinkedIn. Find me wherever you can find me, and I cannot wait to see you again.